great restaurant, and they are going to be the host of our Monday Night Purple show live on News Talk 830 WCCO. Our first show is actually this coming Monday, August 12th, and at B52. We won't have the players at that show because it's training camp, but I'll be there with Joe Anderson from WCCO, and beginning Monday, September 9th, live at B52 Burgers and Brew, I'll be co-hosting leading into Monday Night Football from 6 to 7 p.m., also 6 to 7 p.m. this coming Monday. But I'll be co-hosting in September with Harrison Smith, Dalvin Cook, and other players, and we'll talk about the most recent game, preview the upcoming game, and hit NFL hot topics, and get to know the players better. So fans coming to Vikings training camp before or after practice, and all of our listeners, I encourage you to go to B52 Burgers and Brew in Inver Grove Heights, a terrific menu, 25 varieties of burgers, Jim, and great appetizers and entrees, and B52 will have Monday night specials. They have a rooftop patio and a fantastic Sunday brunch. So check out their website, b52burgersandbrew.com, and hope to see you there.
Awesome. Great new sponsor. We do appreciate them jumping aboard. Let's get to your evaluation of this rookie class.
Well, I think that it has a chance to really be special. And I think GMs always think their draft classes are special, but when I look at this group and watch them in training camp, and of course the proof will be in regular season what happens and what kind of roles they have, but I certainly see down the road perhaps 4 to 6 starters out of this group, and of course Garrett Bradbury, the number 1 pick, already starting and doing well in camp, and he's having his baptism still as a rookie, and getting some battles with the defensive linemen and so forth. But I think he's really shows up well out there, and he's very mobile, has quick feet, and I think he is a great addition to that offensive line. And so you start with him, and then Irv Smith Jr., the tight end, the second-round pick, who I expect to get a lot of play time. I also don't expect them to show him a lot in preseason because I think that they know what they've got in him as a weapon, and I don't think they want to broadcast it at this point in time. And so we'll see how much action he gets in that 2 tight end offense with Kyle Rudolph, and Alexander Madison, the number 3 pick, has clearly emerged as the number 2 running back. He looks good running and receiving, a versatile back, and I think he'll be a great backup for Dalvin Cook, and hopefully Cook can stay healthy, and if he has to come out for a few series or whatever, I think Madison will be a great addition at that point. And then kind of looking down the line, you think about, okay, well, who could be the other future starters potentially? And I mentioned Ole Udo at tackle. He's a big guy with some good feet and kind of green, but I like his future. And Mike Zimmer already has singled him out. Chris Boyd is a 7th-round corner. I like his aggressiveness. He's out of Texas, and with Holton Hill's situation, I think that Chris Boyd has an excellent chance to make the team, and potentially down the road could be a player and a potential starter, especially because I don't think Trey Waynes will be here after this season when they have to free up some salary cap room somewhere, and so I think that Chris Boyd, the 7th-round pick, good chance. We've already talked about B.C. Johnson, the 7th-round wide receiver, and he's in the push right now for even the number 3 spot, and definitely to make the top 5, and competing with that whole group of receivers, B.B. Treadwell, Zylstra, Jordan Taylor. And then you look at some of these other guys, really interesting players, and I'm talking about, for example, Cameron Smith, a 5th-round linebacker, and he showed up in some drills, and he's an aggressive guy. He could be a future player for them, a future starter. Drew Samia, we've talked about at guard, and haven't seen a lot yet out of him, but I think he'll be interesting to watch in the preseason games. And Dylan Mitchell, another wide receiver, the 7th-round pick, could be a practice squad candidate. Austin Cutting, the long snapper, competing with Kevin McDermott. Marcus Epps, a safety. Armon Watts, a defensive tackle, 6th-round pick. I haven't seen a lot out of him yet, but again, we'll be watching. So I really like what I've seen from this rookie class so far, and it will be one of the really interesting parts of watching the preseason games that are usually dreadful to watch, as we know, but when there are some specific people you want to see, then I think it's interesting look at it from that standpoint.
Absolutely. Hey, by the way, I'm in vacation in San Francisco with my wife. We're wandering around the city. I'm just wondering, I'm going to give you a nice softball here. What was your favorite football memory of San Francisco? Because as a young writer, I was constantly out here covering 49er playoff games. I've covered a Super Bowl out here. It's one of my favorite places in the world.
Yeah, I remember having a New Year's Eve out there. That was a lot of fun in the city, and then going on to play the 49ers, in a playoff game. I'm not sure if that was actually the specific year of our fantastic win over the 49ers in 1987, which is my greatest football memory in San Francisco at Candlestick, which was, of course, the Joe Montana, Bill Walsh era. They were the number one seed in the playoffs. We had that great young team with Millard and Dolman on defense and Anthony Carter at wide receiver. Wade Wilson got hot in the playoffs, and we had beaten New Orleans in the wild card round and went on to San Francisco, big underdogs, and beat them. I think it was 36-24 that day. Just dominated the game. Dolman was all over Montana, and I think Reggie Rutland had an interception for return for a touchdown. Anthony Carter had over 200 yards receiving. Wade Wilson had a fantastic day throwing the ball, and that's one of my favorite victories in my NFL career, and having that win in San Francisco. So that's definitely top of the heap. And because I remember a lot of tough games out at Candlestick too, facing those 49ers in the playoffs, and especially the year after when we had traded for Herschel Walker, we go out to San Francisco and just get annihilated by them, and that was a tough one. But certainly the 87 game was a great memory.
I just love the atmosphere out here. It's just a great football town as well as everything else. Let's get to two more topics. I want to talk about Ryan Fitz, and we want to talk about the passing of Don Banks as well. Do want to thank everybody who listens to the show. Check out TalkNorth.com for all of our other shows. Russo, Smalley, Cheryl Reeve, John Krasinski, the list goes on. Great people to work with. It's been really rewarding work all people like that. Our producer, Brandon Morton, and, of course, Jeff himself. So Ryan Fitz looks like he might be getting the starting job in Miami. How crazy is that?
Yeah, I said in my SportingNews.com column that's going to be published tomorrow, I said, say it ain't so, Brian Flores, the new coach of the Dolphins. And because we've seen this movie many times with Ryan Fitzpatrick, where he'll start the season hot. Last year, he was the first quarterback in NFL history to have 3 400-yard passing games in a row at the start of a season. And then, of course, the fourth game, he got clobbered by the Bears, had 126 yards passing in a 48-10 loss, and then went back to a backup role behind Jameis Winston. And the guy has been in the NFL for 15 years. He's on his 8th NFL team. And yeah, he's a gutty guy. He's survived, and he's had some good moments, but it's going to end badly, because the problem with Ryan Fitzpatrick, and I saw this very up close when he was with the Titans down in Tennessee one year, and I was doing a lot of coverage of the team, that the guy just thinks he's got a better arm than he does. And so he'll try, even as smart as he is, a Harvard quarterback and all this and that. And part of the reason why he's considered the number one guy in Miami right now is because he's picking up the offense quicker than Josh Rosen, who they traded for. Now, perhaps Flores, the new coach, is trying to light a fire under Rosen. We'll see. But I just think to make Ryan Fitzpatrick the starter is just a waste of time in Miami. And if that's what they're going to do, and he's going to end up the starter for a significant time, well, they're going to end up with such a lousy record that they may end up having a shot at Tua down in Alabama in the draft, or Justin Herbert at Oregon. So if they don't believe in Josh Rosen, who they haven't had to invest that much in. And now Flores has said Rosen is improving and getting better, and I expect him to be the starter very quickly. But I wouldn't waste any time if I were the Miami Dolphins with Ryan Fitzpatrick, because that's just the way it rolls with him. He's gonna force some balls. He's gonna make some big mistakes, and it's not going to turn out well. And so we'll see what happens down in Miami. But the Ryan Fitzpatrick train rolls on.
Oh man! Well, we know how it's going to end. Let's hit one more topic today. I worked with Don Banks the longtime NFL reporter. You worked with and around Don Banks. I also competed with him, and he passed while covering the Hall of Fame ceremony. It's a very sad day for our business.
Yeah, definitely it is. And Don Banks, a very good friend of mine for many years, even going back to when he covered the team. Always had great respect for him, and just and became very close with him even after my NFL career. And he helped me with a lot of contacts and connections. He helped get me my first column writing gig at SI.com when he was there, and so it's just so sad in this situation. First of all, because he's young, he's 56, and leaves 2 sons behind, and his wife, and just a terrific guy and a close friend, but he had just gotten a job covering the Raiders in the NFL for the Las Vegas Review-Journal. He had just written his first story for that newspaper at the Hall of Fame. It just started August 1st, and then passes away in his sleep in Canton. So just so sad to hear that news of a good friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Our condolences to Don's family and everyone who knew him.
Definitely true, for sure.
We'll end on that note. Thank you to Jeff Diamond. Thanks to our producer, Brandon Morton. We'll be back with more breaking down of camp and the first preseason game next week.